So around 11 months ago now, I brought you guys my 20-1 Premier League table predictions. In today's video, we are going to be revisiting them predictions and seeing how good or bad I have actually done. There is some absolute shockers in here. I have had a really poor season. We're going to be adding up the points difference between the position I predicted and the position that all these teams actually finished in. We'll be adding them up and then I'll give you guys a total in the end. Now, I have previously done Premier League predictions, but I've never recorded my points, so I don't know. So this year is the first official year, and we will be doing this every year for all four of England's top four divisions going forward as well. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 60 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Drop a comment in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know how good or bad were your Premier League table predictions from the start of the season. Go check out my reaction to my Championship, League 1 and League 2 table predictions as well if you haven't already. Let's waste no further time though and get straight into it. Starting out then in 20th place, I obviously predicted Bournemouth. I think everyone probably had Bournemouth in their bottom three, and 99% of people would have probably had Bournemouth bottom. They finished in 15th, so I was 5 places out on that one. Gary O'Neill and all the players there have done an absolutely fantastic job. Massively overachieved. For me personally, I think Gary O'Neill deserves to be the manager of the year. The amount of people that would have actually predicted Bournemouth to survive would have been very little. So the fact they've been able to do so on such a small budget, you've got to give them credit. Yes, obviously they got a bit of investment in January, but overall their squad was nowhere near good enough on paper to really compete with some of the teams that in the end they have finished above of. So not a bad prediction, because I think a lot of people would have probably predicted that, but Bournemouth have just massively overachieved in the season just gone by. In 19th place, I predicted Leeds United. In the end, they finished in 19th, so I've got that one absolutely spot on. Breaking news, there's only one other team that I've got absolutely spot on, and I'm sure you can already guess who that team is, but I'm really happy to get this one right, because a lot of people probably had Fulham to finish in 19th. We'll get onto them in a moment, but I thought Leeds losing, obviously, Rafinha and Phillips, I thought it would be too much of a big loss for them. The way that they're being ran is obviously, well, previously under their previous ownership and Victor Orta as well, you know, the way they were going, it was always going to be a relegation for Leeds in the season just gone by, so I'm really happy with that prediction. In 18th place, I did predict Fulham. I thought they would go down, but I didn't think they would be 19th place like probably what a lot of other people thought. In the end, they finished in 10th, just about scraping a top half finish. I was 8 places out on that one. A really poor prediction from me there, but again, they had a really good season. Mitrovic proving that he can do it in the Premier League, and even when he had that 8-game ban, you know, they were still scoring goals. They had so many players who had really good seasons, and it'll be interesting to see if they fall off maybe next season. Obviously, their first season, I believe, back in the Premier League since one of their relegations. You know, they're a team like Norwich and other teams that have been, you know, constantly yo-yoing between the Premier League and at the Championship, but it seems they've got a bit of stability, and that one was a pretty poor prediction from me, one of my joint worst ones in today's video. In 17th place, I predicted Southampton. In the end, they finished bottom in 20th, so I was 3 places out on that one. I thought they would just about have enough to survive. I was tossing and turning between them and Fulham as who would get my final relegation spot. In the end, they have just had a really poor season. They've got some good players on paper, but that Nathan Jones appointment in the end has absolutely killed them, and they'll be playing Championship football next season. You know, you've seen players like Lavia, Ward-Prowse still with the club at this moment in time. Obviously, the transfer window has hardly been open, but you would expect players like that to potentially move on. I think, obviously, if they keep the majority of their squad together, they could certainly challenge for a top 2 finish next season, but I can't see that happening. And not a bad prediction, only 3 places out, but certainly not a good one. In 16th place, I predicted Everton FC. In the end, they finished in 17th, so I was 1 place out on that prediction. Obviously, starting out the season with Frank Lampard didn't really work out as we all expected under him. They brought Sean Dyche in, and he just about managed to keep them up. I thought they would have done better under Sean Dyche, to be fair, but another season of massive underperformance for Everton, and they need to get it right next season, because they could be one of them teams that have been, well, obviously the last few seasons have been a team that have been hanging around, looming around relegation, and the season upcoming, if they don't get it right, it could be their season that they do finally drop. But again, not a bad prediction from me there whatsoever. In 15th place, I predicted Nottingham Forest. They finished in 16th, so again, I was 1 place out on that prediction. I thought they'd survive, and in the end, they were pretty comfortable with survival, to be fair. Obviously, they made about 7 million signings in the transfer window, and it was good to see Steve Cooper actually get back. He was given, I think it was 2 new contracts, wasn't it, throughout the season, or one might have been just before the season started, and you've got to give him credit. They backed him, and he has repaid them as well. They'll be playing Premier League football once again at next season. I think now they've got that stability of getting over the first year of surviving. Now they can really build on building a better squad, not just getting numbers in, but getting quality in as well. Get a few of the other players out the door. And for me personally, I'm really happy with that prediction. Just one place out on that one. In 14th place, I predicted Brentford FC. In the end, they finished in 9th, so I was 5 places out with that prediction. Certainly not a great one. I thought they'd be around the lower half of mid-table. In the end, they've actually managed to get another top half finish. Fair play to Thomas Frank and all of the players. They've had a really, really good season. And it looked like at one point they might potentially have an outside chance of European football. Maybe they can go one better next season. Obviously, Ivan Toney will be a big miss for them next campaign. But yeah, that one's not a great prediction from me. In 13th place, I predicted Brighton and Hove Albion. In the end, they finished in 6th. So I was 7 places out on that one. Losing Graham Potter at the start of the season, I thought would have been a much bigger loss than what it was. De Zerbi came in and was easily, for me, top 5, if not top 3 managers in the season just gone by. I thought they had a really, really impressive season. We saw some great breakout seasons, and we all know Brighton's recruitment strategy. They're absolutely fantastic at it. Obviously, they recently sold Alexis McAllister as well to Liverpool. They'll probably go and replace him with someone you've never heard of from the Paraguayan 7th division, and he'll turn out to be even better than him. So you've got to give them so much credit. They've had a fantastic season. They'll be playing European football next campaign, and yeah, I was really far out with that prediction. In 12th place, I predicted Aston Villa. In the end, they finished in 7th, so I was 5 places out with that prediction. Obviously, I've made that prediction under Steven Gerrard as their manager. He eventually got the sack. They brought in Unai Emery, and he absolutely transformed that Villa side. He's got the best out of so many of their players. I think he's one of the best managers outside of the big 6 for me, and they've had a really, really good season. I was 5 places out. When you look at it, 5 places is not the end of the world, but from 12th to 7th is a much, or certainly feels like a much bigger gap than just 5 places. So yeah, not a great prediction from me there. In 11th place, I predicted Wolverhampton Wanderers. In the end, they finished in 13th, so I was 2 places out on that one. If you'd have told me that by Christmas they'd be bottom of the league and looking as an absolute nailed on for relegation, I would not have believed you, to be honest with you. They had a really, really poor start to the season, finished it brilliantly under, is it Lopetegui, something like that, and in the end I was only 2 places out, so I'm not too bothered with that prediction. Certainly not a bad one there. In 10th place, I predicted Leicester City. They finished in 18th, so I was 8 places out with that prediction. In the end, they have been relegated. They'll be playing Championship football once again next season. The strong rumours at the moment, Maddison and Barnes could be on their way to Tottenham Hotspur, but it was a season of massive underperformance under Brendan Rodgers, and then Dean Smith came in and he was never going to be the man to keep them up in the end. And after a really, really successful period in the Premier League, they have finally been relegated back down into the Championship. In 9th place, I predicted Crystal Palace. They finished 2 places lower in 11th, so again, not a bad prediction from me there. I thought under Patrick Vieira, they would have really been able to kick on, but in the end, they had a really, really poor stint under him towards the end. I know he had some of the harder games, and obviously Zaha wasn't fit at the time. I did think that sacking was a little bit harsh at the time, but in hindsight, Roy Hodgson's come in, steadied them away from any sort of relegation, and in the end, they've had a pretty comfortable mid-table finish. In 8th place, I predicted Newcastle United. In the end, they finished in 4th, so I was 4 places out on that one. Certainly not a great prediction from me there, but again, Eddie Howe and his staff there have had a really, really good season. The players have massively overperformed my expectations anyway. I thought they'd just miss out on European football. In the end, they're going to be playing in the Champions League next season, so you've got to give them so much credit. They've had an absolutely outstanding season, and I'm sure all the Newcastle fans will be buzzing with that. In 7th place, I predicted West Ham United. In the end, they finished in 14th, so I was 7 places out with that prediction. Certainly not a great one for me. It seemed like they focused more on the UEFA Conference League, I think, in the end, rather than the league. And while they didn't underperform in the league, obviously winning a trophy is absolutely massive for their fans. They are a massive club, and yeah, poor prediction from me there. But at the start of the season, I thought they would have kicked on under David Moyes. There were rumours halfway through the season he might have been getting the sack. In the end, he's won them a trophy. And West Ham fans, how are you feeling going into the next campaign? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Before we get into my top 6 predictions, please make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. In 6th place, I predicted Manchester United. In the end, they finished in 3rd. I was 3 places out with that prediction. I thought they'd get Europa League football. In the end, they were pretty comfortable in getting the Champions League. I think if they have another season of solid recruitment under Erik ten Hag, they could go one step further and potentially challenge for 2nd. I don't think they're quite close enough yet to challenge Manchester City. Obviously, it depends what both teams really do in the upcoming transfer window, but I think if you back him, give him another couple $100 million to spend, and he spends it right, because I do think some of their recruitment was dodgy at times, to be honest with you. But overall, for me, I think it was a really good season for Manchester United. You know, finishing in 3rd in Erik ten Hag's first full season as a Manchester United manager. Obviously, it started out pretty shaky, but yeah, pretty poor prediction from me there. I thought they'd finish 6th. In the end, they did finish in 3rd. In 5th place, I predicted Arsenal FC. In the end, they finished 3 places better in 2nd. They had a really, really good season up until the last, 5-6 games in the league. They really pushed Man City all the way right until the end where they did completely fall apart. But a brilliant season for Arsenal overall. Not a great prediction from me there. I didn't think they would quite have enough to break into that top four. In the end, they were so close to winning the title, and yeah, not a great prediction from me there. In fourth place, I predicted Chelsea FC. In the end, they finished 8 places lower in 12th. An absolutely shocking season for Chelsea. Tuchel getting the sack right at the start, Potter coming in, he eventually got the sack, Lampard came in, he eventually just led them to absolutely nowhere. A massive underperforming season from Chelsea after all that money that's spent. I'm sure everyone's probably sick of going on about Chelsea now because they had an absolutely shocking season, one of the worst in the club's recent history, and in the end, a poor prediction from me there, but I think Chelsea's underperformance was worse than my prediction. In third place, I predicted Tottenham Hotspur. In the end, they finished in 8th, so I was 5 places out with that prediction. I thought they would really kick on under Antonio Conte. In the end, it's gone the complete opposite way, and yeah, it's been an absolutely shocking season for Spurs. I don't think they're in any sort of European football next season, so just the league to concentrate on them. Looks very likely they'll be losing Harry Kane as well in this upcoming transfer window. They've obviously got a new manager in. I can't for the life of me remember his name, but yeah, poor prediction from me there. But I thought a lot of people would have probably not disagree with that at the start of the season. I thought a lot of people probably had Spurs second, if not third, so not a bad prediction, just a massive season of underperformance from Tottenham, to be honest with you. In second place, I predicted Liverpool FC. In the end, they finished in 5th, so I was 3 places out with that one. It was a massive season, again, of underperformance from Liverpool. They've been competing with Man City for the last couple of seasons. This season, it was just one too much from their lack of recruitment and investment in that midfield really has cost them, but they did have a lot of players underperforming. I think if they didn't have players like Alisson and Salah, they're big game players, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a Chelsea-like season for Liverpool, especially Alisson. I thought he had an absolutely outstanding campaign, comfortably the best goalkeeper in the league. For me, I know people going about Pope and Ramsdale and stuff like that, but for me personally, Alisson is absolutely outstanding, and not a bad prediction. I thought Liverpool would once again be pushing City for the title. In the end, they have qualified though for Europa League football. And top of the table, I predicted Manchester City. In the end, they did finish in first, so the other team that I predicted absolutely spot on was Manchester City. So to get 2 right in a Premier League table prediction is not the end of the world, but it's certainly not great. I've certainly had better seasons in the past. I think Man City are comfortably one of the best teams we've ever seen. Obviously, they have recently won the treble as well, so big congratulations to them. They're an absolutely fantastic footballing side, one of my favourite teams to watch of all time, and they're an absolutely outstanding team. Thoroughly deserved to win the league. In the end, they were just more consistent than Arsenal when it mattered towards the end of the campaign, and yeah, overall for me, not a bad predictions overall. In the end, I accumulated 80 points. For a bit of context, I got the same amount in the Championship, and that's 4 teams more there. So, yeah, not great for me this season. Next year, we're looking to go one better and try and get under that 70 mark, because I think, well, I just had a really poor predictions, but I think on paper, none of them were really bad predictions. You just had teams like Chelsea, Tottenham, West Ham, Leicester, all massively underperformed, and then you had teams like Fulham, Brighton, Brentford, who massively overperformed as well. So, overall, not bad predictions, certainly not great ones. I am going to leave it there, though, for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 60 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already, with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so, and it does massively help out. Drop a comment in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know how good or bad were your Premier League table predictions from the 2022-23 campaign. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all very soon for another one. Peace!